Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This week's video is all about silk paint. We're going to paint this beautiful desk the color Mojave. I purchased this desk off a local buy-sell trade group on Facebook and brought it home. It's solid wood, but it definitely needs a color change. I began by taking out all the drawers and cleaning with white lightning. After I clean with white lightning, I rinse with water. After looking at the original hardware with this piece, I decided I want to change it. I'm going to use the brand new retro lattice stencil as the design for this desk. So if you look closely at this desk, you're going to notice that it's really not in great, perfect shape. The finish has a lot of nicks on it and scratches. So in order to disguise that and work with what I have, I'm going to apply a raised stencil. A raised stencil with Dixie Belle Mud is just the thing to hide flaws on any wood. This way I don't have to get in there and sand down and make it completely flat. So let's apply the raised stencil with some Dixie Belle Mud. Since a couple of the drawer fronts had this kind of like indent line at the top and the bottom, I taped that part off. Since I want the mud to sit on top of the surface, I figured that just doing the center panel would be the way to go for this project. So a raised stencil design is actually really simple to do, and I find myself doing it a lot lately to add detail to any piece that needs just a little bit more pizzazz. Dixie Belle Mud is available in 3 colors, white, brown, and black. For this project, I'm just using white. Since the plan is to paint over top of it, it really doesn't matter what color I choose. I like to center my stencil right in the middle of where the actual hole for the hardware will be. That's going to give me an even length on to the left and the right side. I'm going to use a plastic spatula and gently pull the mud over top of the mylar stencil. This is going to create the raised stencil, and yes, it's going to look a little bit bumpy and a little bit messy, but don't worry, we're going to sand it back to a flat surface when this dries. After making sure to cover the entire stencil with a thin layer of Dixie Belle Mud, I'm going to remove it when it's still wet. By removing it when it's still wet, I'm going to make less fractures and cracks around the edges. I repeated this same process for the other 3 drawers, and once they were dry, we're going to just use a light sand and get it back to flat. Did you know that Dixie Belle Mud should not be washed down the drain? I think a lot of people don't know this. You don't want it clogging up your pipes. So what I recommend you do is just take it outside and give it a blast with the hose. It's going to remove all of that mud while it's still wet, and since it's water soluble, it comes off fairly easy. Okay, it's been a couple hours, and now I'm giving you a close-up look at the texture that's on this piece. Here's the plan. I don't mind a little bit of texture on top of these stencils because if you sand it back too flat, you're not going to see the definition. So I just use the soft gray finishing pad to sand it back and then get any of the really big lumps and bumps off of that. I also go around the edges, making sure that the edges are nice and smooth for when you put that drawer in. Remember when I was washing my stencil, I told you that the Dixie Belle Mud is a water-based product? It can be reactivated with water. So here's the deal. The plan usually is to seal my stencils. I seal this raised stencil with either Boss or with a clear coat. This is just going to lock in that raised stencil and make sure that I don't disturb it when I come in and paint. This is especially important if you're doing a really drippy look and using a lot of water. So I want a kind of a mid-mod look to this piece. The lines on the desk kind of tell me that it looks a little mid-century, so let's use some silk paint in Mojave to liven it up. Did you know that silk paint has a built-in top coat and a built-in primer? It also is self-leveling, so for this job it is absolutely perfect. I'm going to apply one even coat to the entire desk, waiting 2 hours in between coats of paint, and then apply a nice even second coat of paint. It is going to look fabulous. I really think that choosing this stencil was the right move. It's really going to make this desk look a little bit more modern. Plus, I love that mid-mod look of the retro lattice mixed in with the Mojave color of silk paint. This is the second coat of silk paint going down onto the desk. When I apply silk paint, I like to use a smooth synthetic brush. This is going to help minimize any brush strokes and get it nice and smooth. Even though it's self-leveling, I find that silk paint loves a nice smooth synthetic brush. And that built-in top coat is going to save me the hassle of having to worry about doing an extra top coat. Now, I did add a coat onto the top of the piece just to ensure that the top of the desk would be sealed well. You didn't think that I would stop there, did you? You know I had to add like a little bit of flair somewhere. So the side of this piece was completely flat and it was screaming at me for something special. I keep seeing this beautiful evil eye Hamza hand all over the internet. I don't know if it's just something I'm seeing for a reason or if it's just really popular right now. So I just took some art that I was practicing with and mimicked that same artwork on the side of my piece. I used small artisan brushes and part of a silkscreen stencil just to give it some kind of graphic pop, as well as the end of an eraser. Did you know that the end of an eraser on a pencil is the perfect size for making circles? It is. You should give it a try. I love cutting up and using parts of silkscreen stencils. I really like the way that this silkscreen stencil looks a little bit like jewels or beads on the side of the piece. Silkscreen stencils are really easy to use. They have an adhesive backing, so when you put it onto your project, you're able to push your paint through the silkscreen and not have any bleed through. So it gives you a really detailed design. Silkscreen stencils go on really smoothly, and I love to use them in conjunction with a Dixie Belle transfer. I find that it gives a look, design, kind of a unique feel rather than everybody's looking the same. So if you wanted to try cutting up a silkscreen stencil, I totally recommend it. I added a couple more dots with some detail and some gold digger on the side of the piece, and I was finished. I touched some of the edges of the desk with a little bit of gold gilding wax just for an added bit of flair, and I really love the way that that stencil looks on the front of the piece. I added some new hardware, and with the hand painting on the side of the desk, I think that this piece is a little boho beauty. I know that somebody will enjoy this in their office or their dorm room. It is going to look fabulous.